Okay, welcome to today's video. As you could tell by the title, this isn't going to be a normal repair video, but it does roll into doing other repairs in the future. So this only applies to the 03 and 04 circuit board, so if it has these two little resistors here, and if the MCU ends in 59. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna get this thing into the bootstrap loader, so BSL, and then we are going to extract the flash memory from it. Uh, I'm not comfortable writing back to it yet with any of my good working boards because I can sell these for a good amount of money. Um, but Jeff, and I'm sure y'all are all familiar with Jeff, uh, he was kind enough. He's gonna mail me some donor boards that he had that will boot up, so that way I can write to him. I just don't want to fry a perfectly good board with a bad dump. And I only have two of them, so if I mess one up, then I have to make sure I get the read really good off the other one to write it. So it'll be nice to have a third board to mess with. But this one has steering wheel controls on it, so I'm gonna go ahead and dump this one now, so that way if I sell it anytime soon, I'll still have the flash memory of it. Because this really allows two things. This allows us to add steering wheel controls to a board that does not already have steering wheel controls, because that's not on the EEPROM. Your odometer and your trans temp and all of that's on the EEPROM here, but your actual uh, steering wheel controls for the driver's information center here, they're on the MCU. So that allows us to do the steering wheel control, delete or add if needed, and it also allows us to replace a faulty MCU. There's a problem that Jeff's run into. I haven't run into it yet, but Jeff's run into it where you'll just get a zero EEPROM read or 0 miles no matter what you replace the EEPROM or not. I personally haven't run into that one yet, that's what he's sending me is one of them that have that condition going on. So we'll see. I highly doubt it's something in the software. It's probably something physically wrong with the board, as or with the MCU. As he stated, he believes that, and I'd agree with that. It's probably some ESD damage. I would assume to the chip select pin, but I'll figure it out when I get it. But yeah, since these are not I squared C, but SPI, they use a chip select or slave select pin to tell them to what to do. So that's what I would guess is wrong with those. I'm getting off on a tangent here. Let's wire this thing up. So first I'm going to wire it up where you can get it into the bootstrap loader. All what you have to do there is pull ground to pin 80 and 89, which there's a little resistor over here that is giving it 5 volts to keep it from accidentally going into it. But I'll show you. So right, this resistor here and this resistor right here go to pin, I believe this one's pin 80 and that one's pin 89. It might be the other way around, but we're just gonna go to ground right there and right there. And that'll let us go into bootstrap. I'm also going to put in extra ground wire just floating up here. This is the reset pin right here, just this very top pin here. So that way, if for some reason I need to reset it, I don't have to turn it on and off. I can just slap that to ground real quick, and that'll reboot the EEPROM. So let's get those soldered in real quick, and then we'll move on from there. Okay, I skipped recording wiring in the adapter, and I'm not going to mention what the adapter is because I don't want y'all to go out and buy this stuff on an unproven thing. So like this is just me proving that I'm able to get a dump off of it. I have not attempted to write, and so I don't want y'all to believe that this is a finished project and go buy all the stuff and waste your money on something that may not work. I'm pretty sure it will work, but I want to verify it and get the how-to video of the full thing, dude. This is just proof of concept. This is me just showing that, hey, I can get this to dump off of there. So here we go. We're gonna go into the software. This software does not have a cheap license. There are other ways of getting the software though, but I'm not gonna get into that. Let's take a look at it on screen here and see if we can dump this memory out of it. Okay, so as you can see, it is recording. I really probably shouldn't be doing a screen recording while this is running, because this goes over USB, and that screen capture, or not the screen capture, but the camera capture over there uses a lot of bandwidth. But you know, here we are. So I'm just showing you it running. So this is it running. With it running, I can't move this. I didn't realize that until. So I can't show you the pricing of this of an actual license for this. You can download the demo. The demo only allows you to do 64K of memory, and this definitely has more than 64. I'm not sure if it's 256 or if it is 128. I'm gonna try doing a couple of reads. I'm actually gonna try a 512 and just see if I get any repeating in there or any errors. But yeah, I'm just not completely sure what the size of this flash memory is, because I don't have a data sheet for it, for the actual chip. I have a data sheet for the family, and I could find some relatives of this chip. I'm guessing it's 256 because it's what most GM stuff is. If it's not 256, it's going to be 128, I would assume, just because of the time frame when this was made. Stuff more than 256K of memory was not very common back then, so I just don't think that it's going to be more than 256K of flash memory on board with the MCU, but we'll see. This is it running. That's it's Flashit 9 or Flashit. I don't know. To me, when I look at it, I see FLA. So for Florida shit 9, I don't know. That's what I see. Sorry. Sorry, it's just what I see. Yeah, it gives an error that it doesn't support internal flash on this, but then it reads it just fine, so I don't know. I think that this is a proprietary chip, and I probably won't be able to find a actual non-proprietary version of it. So that's why it gives it. But it reads it just fine, so we'll continue to let this run, and I'm going to run the 512, and we'll look at them side by side in HXD. Okay, so it's actually been a couple of days. I just got distracted with trying to figure out more with this and the other projects, so I'm back now. We got it pulled up in HXD. Instead of comparing the 512 to the 256, I'm going to compare the steering wheel control to the non-steering wheel control bin, because this just gives us an opportunity to look at a feature in HXD that I've never shown. So there's a feature under analysis, and you have data comparison, and you just compare, and you can open up two bins. I think you can have 3 or 4 open, and then you have next difference and previous difference, and you can just go through and see what's different in them. So I've already figured out this is most likely a 128 kilobyte memory. The 256 was pulling out RAM and some of the protected areas on there. I've gotten the Infineon tool Minimon to work with it instead of Flashit. Minimon's free, so if you're going to try this, I'm a little more comfortable talking about it now that I found that, so that way no one's going to go out and buy that really expensive license. Minimon, you can download it for free, and then it's just an RS232 adapter that you're using to do it. You just have to pull everything, all those pins underground. But yeah, let's go look at these differences on here. and just go through real quick. So I'm just going to click with the keyboard F6 to just keep going through the different differences in here. So we notice we are still in the first memory space. So the first memory space starts at address 000 and goes to 7FFF0 for the first memory space. So once we pass 7, we'll be into kind of the RAM area for a while, which I believe we just did. Yep. So it looks like in the second memory space, we really didn't see any. Let's go Shift F6 and see if there's any differences there. Yeah, so anything past the first space, are really not seeing anything because 1800 is really where your second memory space starts. So right past it again. Oh, dang. I need to focus. Pay attention to what I'm doing. There we go. Alright, here is the start of the rest of the memory, and this should end at 2FFFF. Oh, sorry, 02FFFF would be the end, and then you just hit, just kind of repeating junk, because there's nothing there. 02, there, we've passed it. I forgot there's that little section in there like that. Alright. 02 FFFF. There we go. And yeah, so here is the end of it, and then it just starts getting just kind of random junk. Okay, so here is the end of the second memory space. After this, this is just random junk that it fills in there. So I don't know why with because both of these I pulled with Flashit, and whenever it hits these areas of which are like most of them are protected, like anything past 7FF0 is a protected area. It's a trap. So if you try to read it in Minimon, it just sends the end command, and it'll jump out of BSL and boot up because it's a protected area. You're not supposed to be able to pull a read. For some reason, Flashit just fills in seemingly random junk in those protected areas, and it doesn't boot out of it. I don't know. I don't have a clue why that happens. If anybody knows, let me know down in the comments below. I will upload both of these bins. They're kind of useless because they're scrambled with so much junk. I'll try to get some better pools here in the next week and get them uploaded also, because with this, somebody with a whole lot more skill than me can go in assembly language, figure out exactly how this writes to itself, so that way somebody like Pete over at LS Droid could actually make their USB dongle work with it. Because if you have this, you have the keys to it, and you can really get into assembly language and make other tools. You can also make tweaks to it if you wanted. That takes a whole lot more skill than I have. I definitely don't have the skills to do something like that. But I've got the dumps off of here, so I would love to see somebody take that memory, that flash memory off of there, and do something useful with it. So I hope you guys like this video. This project took me more than a year to even get to this point. I'm really hoping that writing to it goes smoothly, but I already know Flashit will not work for writing to it. I emailed the company. They were extremely helpful, and they let me know that their software will not work with it. So I have to get Minimon or UVision or something like that to work with it to write to it. And a lot of that stuff is not easy to use. I'm not understanding a lot of what I'm doing at this point. I'm in over my head on this project. It's way past my skill set, but I'm learning a lot on the way. I really enjoy it. I hope you guys liked the video. Please, if you liked it, subscribe if you haven't already. help me get this channel monetized. That way I have more time to spend on projects like this because I don't have to go to work. All right, I'll see you guys in the next video.